Now I've got 3 o'clock too. This meeting is being recorded. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the special meeting of the Board of Directors of Mission Springs Water District, August 16th, 2021. Roll call. I'll call to order, please. Call to order. Roll call, please. Sorry.
Director Sewell.
Can't hear you, Dory.
Director Sewell? Can you hear me?
No,
Still can't hear you.
I can read your lips.
Brian, can we maybe turn the volume up in the room?
No reason we're not.
Brian?
Dory, let me go downstairs again.
Too quickly.
And now you're muted. Now you have a muted sign.
Okay.
She didn't have a muted sign. Now she does.
Yeah.
We can't hear
Can
Dory.
you hear me now?
No, she
Can you
knows.
hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Turn off my mic. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Don't forget you're on your mic, guys.
Dory, can you hear us?
I can
Hiding
hear
your
you.
mic.
Can you hear
Randy,
me?
you're right. Okay, we don't forget. I didn't
We all
have
have our
my mic.
mics on.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please keep talking.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Getting there. Yes.
You're getting there.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. I will resume with roll call. Director Sewell?
Here.
Director Grasha? Director Duncan?
Here.
Vice President Martin?
Here.
President Wright?
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Thank you. Any public input, Dory? Anybody on the line for public input? For items that are not on the agenda today?
I have a few members of the public on the line. Would any of you like to make public comment today?
We're not on the agenda. Anybody wants to make comment on the item will be able to do so during the item.
Nobody is turning on their mic.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So item number 1, action and discussion item, July 20th, 2021, article related to spill at Horton wastewater treatment plant. It is recommended to authorize the board president to issue a response to Director Grasha's July 20th article related to the spill at the Horton treatment plant and give direction to the general manager to distribute the response. Okay, so I will open with that opening statement, kind of tell you guys why I called this meeting. Today's subject is the July 20th, 2021 blog in the Yukon Report, where Mr. Grasha, who is one of MSWD's board members, has falsely accused MSWD of intentionally killing people due to what he called an intentional spill of raw sewage at the Horton wastewater treatment plant. And the fact that Cindy Yukon in her blog printed his false accusations without doing any fact checking, not even a phone call to the district or the state's Regional Water Quality Control Board, who oversees such accidental spills. If she had done her due diligence, as her blog states she does, she would have uncovered the truth and we would not be here today trying to correct the false and incriminating statements that Mr. Grasha, a board member and a public official, said about the agency that he took an oath to protect. To lie is to knowingly make a false statement, verbal or in writing, made with the intention that someone else shall be led to believe it. When a public official intentionally lies to the public and makes a false claim to any law enforcement person or agency, that is a crime and the truth needs to be told. This is why I called this meeting today, to uncover the true facts about an accidental spill of treated wastewater. Mr. Grasha received the same information as the rest of the board, including MSWD's response to the notice of violation from the regional board. This response tells the true circumstances of the event. Technically, this response is written under penalty of perjury. For the record, I am chair of the regulatory state agency, the California Regional Water Quality Control Board, Colorado River Basin Region number 7. Our offices are located in Palm Desert, and I have recused myself from any and all involvement about this event and the regulatory responsibilities of the regional or state boards. The only information I have received on the issue is from MSWD, which is the same information that Mr. Grasha had received before he made these false accusations, seemingly with the intent to cause havoc and harm to MSWD. What kind of person would do this kind of thing? I don't know. I think that's a good place to start, though. So would you please put up the article, the Desert Sun article for November 14th, 2018? And I'm having them put this article up just as reference that Mr. Grasha has a history, long history of saying and doing things. Look at this. Desert Hot Springs elects Steve Grasha, a man with history of angry, sexist, racist tweets to the water board. And it goes on, and it has lots of different stuff. If you want to see it, it's in the Desert Sun. It's dated November 13th, 2018. You can read some of the tweets that he has said that they wrote there in that article. So okay, so I'm going to move on, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the secretary of the board. Everybody received a response of President Nancy Wright to Cindy Uken and the Uken report. Okay, I'm going to have the secretary read our response or drafted response, I should say, into the record, and then after that, we'll do comments from the public, and then we'll have discussions with the board, and then we'll make a vote.
And that document was just handed out and then also placed on the website as well.
Correct. Okay, it's on the website if anybody wants to see it. Okay, so we'll start with the reading of the draft response.
Okay, thank you, President Wright. I've been asked to read this document prepared for President Wright's signature. Consequently, I'm reading this verbatim into the record. Title: Response of President Nancy Wright to Cindy Uken and the Uken report. Regarding the Uken report, quote, uncover the facts, unquote, July 20th, 2021. Miss Uken, it has come to my attention that on July 20th, excuse me, 2021, you reported statements by Steve Grasha, who represented himself as the director of the Mission Springs Water District Board of Directors. Your article included and was based on a number of inaccurate, inflammatory statements, which I am requesting be retracted by you and your organization and corrected by posting this response verbatim on your blog. I agree completely in uncovering facts that are important to my community, but I draw the line when the facts are distorted, manufactured, and deceitful. Please share with your readers the following, all of which I believe is verifiable and accurate regarding the district's inadvertent discharge of treated wastewater that occurred on October 2020, or in October 2020. Had you taken the time to contact the district or the state regulatory agency over accidental spills of treated sewage, or assumed the ethical responsibility with which all journalists are charged, you could easily and quickly have verified the facts before you published this article. Unfortunately, very little of the information you reported bears any semblance of the truth. MSWD staff are professional, knowledgeable, and experienced in providing water and wastewater service to the district customers, and also understand the requirements of the state and federal agencies charged with permitting and setting the standards applicable to the district operations. You intend that your readers believe what you write. In this blog article, and others you have published, instead of providing accurate information on which people can rely, you have reported facts and statements made by Steve Grasha, most of which are verifiably inaccurate or outright lies, seemingly to support some unfathomable private agenda. A lie is when someone knowingly makes a false statement in order to mislead others. This blog article is based almost entirely on premeditated, inflammatory lies with the effect of misleading the public and causing unnecessary public concern and panic. In the order raised by your blog article, now let's set the record straight, underline. Number one, your headline states, MSWD director claims Mission Springs Water District's intentional act of dumping raw COVID infected sewage into the neighborhoods killed people, unquote. Answer. There was no quote unquote intentional act of dumping, quote unquote, on October 3rd, 2020. Treated effluent, which was permitted and tested prior to its discharge, accidentally overflowed via a breach in a temporary holding pond. This was not a long-term or ongoing release of COVID-infected sewage. The accidental release was discharged and restrained within just a few hours when district staff immediately began to notify neighboring residents and initiated the cleanup process. No private dwelling was damaged or affected, and the cleanup was accomplished in less than 24 hours. The treatment effluent was not raw sewage. It had been treated to a standard which allowed it to be discharged from the wastewater treatment plant into recharge basins. The spill, quote unquote, also did not kill, quote unquote, or to our knowledge, make anyone sick. These facts could have been easily verified by a simple call to the district general manager. Wastewater treatment plants are designed to collect raw sewage from our homes and businesses and treat it to strict standards that are monitored and enforced by regular testing and reporting to the state California Regional Water Quality Control Board. When treated effluent leaves the wastewater treatment plant, it is intended to be placed in recharge ponds where it percolates into groundwater. While it is not treated to drinking standards, it is also not raw sewage. Just to further clarify the facts, during the COVID-19 pandemic, more and more people were working from home, parent, or were unemployed, unparent. Children were out of school, and unusually high amounts of quote unquote disposable wipes were being flushed down the toilets throughout our community. Wastewater treatment plants are not designed or equipped to handle the extreme conditions that were experienced during the pandemic. It was this condition that caused the district to resort to a temporary holding pond for excess treated wastewater. I do not anticipate this will happen again, as the district is currently in the process of expanding its wastewater capacity by constructing a new regional wastewater treatment facility. And number two, you state, quote, he is seeking the help of a chief investigator in the Riverside County District Attorney's Office, unquote, where he has apparently requested, quote, a proper and thorough criminal investigation, which is left out, would likely prove the spill, quote unquote, of raw, quote unquote, COVID infected sewage is in violation of every environmental crime law imaginable. And the answer, first, I would like to point out that Mr. Grasha is not authorized to speak for the district on this matter, nor is he a water quality expert or attorney. The statements attributed to him are deliberately misleading and dishonest. In addition to promptly cleaning up the spill and notifying neighboring residents, it was the district that reported the spill to the Regional Water Quality Control Board. The reporting was handled routinely at the staff level. It is the Regional Water Quality Control Board that has the jurisdiction over this matter and deals with similar spills that occur with other agencies. While all wastewater plant operators strive to avoid spills, they do occur from time to time, and the Regional Water Quality Control Board deals with them from a regulatory standpoint. The district is working and fully cooperating with the Regional Water Quality Control Board regarding this incident and will continue to do so. I can only assume the district attorney's office understands this better than Mr. Grasha and has confirmed that this matter is being handled by the appropriate regulatory agency, the Regional Water Quality Control Board. And number 3, you repeat, quote, millions of gallons of untreated COVID-infected sewage poured into the adjacent neighborhoods where children and families live and play, unquote. Answer, the report to the Regional Water Quality Control Board provides accurate details of the breach, which resulted in fewer than 1 million gallons of treated effluent being released. Number 4, you state in a single paragraph, quote, this allegation may be proven by a simple audit of the solid waste disposal by Mission Springs Water District's solid waste hauler, Grasha alleges. He claims the waste not trucked into the licensed disposal facility, but was released into the neighborhoods in an attempt to cover up the ongoing and never-ending acts of depravity, to cover up for years of horrid leadership. Grasha alleges one of those acts, giving away critical district-owned, left out was land, meant for the explanation of the Horton wastewater treatment plant, was instead used for a city park to curry favor with voters at the cost of dumping millions of gallons of raw COVID-infected sewage into the neighboring community filled with innocent children and families, unquote. Answer, this barely intelligible reporting appears to confirm a number of unsubstantiated, uneducated claims. Mr. Grasha, who was given a comprehensive tour of the wastewater treatment plant following his election in 2018, seems to have forgotten most of what he was taught. The statements attributed to him in this article suggest that he remains uninformed and unfamiliar with the operations of wastewater treatment plants or the regulatory agencies with jurisdiction over their operation. For example, the treatment process results in waste solids being trucked from the plant to a licensed disposal facility and the treated liquid effluent transferred to recharge ponds where it percolates into the groundwater. Clearly, a simple audit of the solid waste disposal will not provide any information regarding the release of treated effluent from the temporary holding ponds. We are held to a strict standard requiring that we keep detailed records of our plant process, which show that we have properly operated the plant. The truth is that the wastewater treatment plants do, unfortunately, from time to time, experience spills, despite the best efforts to avoid them. Again, the spill at issue involved treated wastewater, and the district promptly responded by cleaning it up and notifying nearby affected neighborhoods. This spill was caused by an accidental breach of a dike wall on a temporary holding pond and not because of improper operation of the plant. Neither Mr. Grasha nor I contributed to or participated in the effort to respond to the spill or notify residents, nor has either of us directly involved with the district's efforts to notify the Regional Water Quality Control Board or worked with that agency in response to the incident. Nonetheless, Mr. Grasha and you have chosen to spread dangerous, inflammatory, intentionally false community. In this poorly written and barely intelligible statement attributed to Mr. Grasha, the short-term, non-threatening treated effluent spill is also somehow connected with the district's 1987 lease of temporarily excess land to the city of Desert Hot Springs for use as a community park. There is no land giveaway, and to tie this community gesture over 30 years ago is unbelievable to the point of being ludicrous. Once again, this statement by Mr. Grasha is baseless and totally unrelated to the effluent spill. Number 5, You quote Mr. Gracia, "These facts of depravity must be fully investigated by the criminal investigators and not the clerks that work directly for Nancy Wright, who chairs both agencies charged with with investigation and the agency that did the likely criminal dumping of raw COVID-infected sewage into our neighborhoods." Answer: As you are aware, I am and have for many years been an elected member of the district's board of directors. In accordance with Water Code sections 13200, I have also been appointed by 3 governors to the Colorado River Basin Regional Water Quality Control Board. Water Code section 13201 contemplates that the governor will appoint knowledgeable and experienced board members from the public and non-public sectors, quote unquote, with demonstrated interest or proven ability in the field of water quality, including water pollution control, water resource management, water use, or water protection. Water Code section 13206 states, quote, "Public officers associated with any area of government, including planning or water, and whether elected or appointed, may be appointed to and serve contemporaneously as members of a regional water quality control board. That I may serve as an elected director of the district and an appointed member of the regional water quality control board is a well-settled matter of law, which was confirmed by the district and the state of California before I was appointed. Mr. Gracia's uninformed and self-serving suggestion that it is somehow improper for me to serve on both agency boards is without merit. I have not and will not participate in any regional water quality control board discussions about the effluent bill, and my participation and actions are guided by legal counsel of the Regional Water Quality Control Board, quote, or parent, the Attorney General's office, unparent, and the district. There is nothing improper or illegal about my service on both agency boards. Number 6, you quote Mr. Gracia, "An audit of solid waste disposal records and truck weights and trips will likely show that sewage was not treated to the appropriate safety levels, potentially causing the death rate from COVID in the neighborhood to be double that of the other areas of Riverside County," Gracia claims, unquote, and quote, "The COVID death rate in the area of the intentional sewage release seems to be about double of neighboring communities," unquote. Answer: The above statement attributed to Mr. Gracia confirms that even after more than 2 years as an elected official of the district, he remains completely ignorant of how wastewater treatment plants work. He should know, for example, that disposal records, truck weights, and trips only indicate the volume of solids removed and are mostly associated with the loading to the treatment plant and not the treatment levels or effluent standard. More important is the fact that the district tests its effluent for certain constituents and has always met the strict standards set by the Regional Water Quality Control Board. This compliance is well documented. There is further no evidence or indication that the district's treated wastewater contributed to COVID infections or the death rate from the COVID anywhere within the district. Number 7, you state, quote, that the audit left out of the district records could prove challenging as Gracia alleges the email server was removed from the district's office, likely containing evidence that may help to prove the, again, incorrect statement. This was an intentional act that may have literally killed people. Just to be clear, answer: the email server was not removed from the district's office. Email upgrades were recently made by the district's IT professionals to improve security and performance. The district's records were not affected by the update. Number 8, you quote Mr. Gracia, "A simple water use restriction would have saved lives, but was not ordered," parent left out, to avoid scrutiny by the public in the closing days of the November election, unquote. They may have killed people for their own political benefit. If Mr. Gracia had even a rudimentary understanding of the wastewater treatment process and the wastewater systems operated by the agency for which he is an elected board member, he would have known it is impossible to impose water use restrictions on wastewater. For someone who describes himself on election materials as a water systems engineer, his statement demonstrates his complete lack of understanding about water and wastewater operations. Number 9, you state in a July 8th, 2021 letter to the California Regional Water Quality Control Board, which oversees MSWD, I, Arden Wallem, which is a mistake, Arden Wallem, General Manager / Chief Engineer for MSWD, writes that immediate corrective and preventative actions have been implemented to bring the discharge into full compliance. This statement is one of very few in your report that is accurate. Number 10, you state Gracia was elected to the Mission Springs Water District Board in November 2018, with more votes than anyone in the 70-year history of the Mission Springs Water District. Since then, he has been investigated for possible residency violations as they relate to his seat on the board. The investigation found Gracia in full compliance. Answer. The district was not involved in any investigation of Mr. Gracia's election qualifications or residency. However, it has been noted that just before the election, he moved a camper trailer into a recreational campground that specifically requires in its rules and regulations that the facilities are operated for recreational purposes, and this is a quote, by the members and may not be used as a residence, unquote. He claims it is this camper trailer that provides his place of residence to qualify him for election to the district's board. However, he provides only a post office box number for delivery of his district email, and there is apparently no record of Mr. Gracia ever having a water or sewer service account with the district, meaning he is not and never has been a customer of the district he serves. Number 11, you describe an incident involving Mr. Gracia's disruption of a district meeting. Gracia, known for being outspoken and sometimes loud, prompted his colleagues in January 2020 to call law enforcement. Police were called to a Mission Springs Water District study session to escort Gracia from the meeting after a discussion escalated into yelling and foul language. Again, although this statement is basically accurate and his rage did prompt the police to remove him from the meeting, but its purpose in this report is unclear, as anyone who has attended the district's meetings knows Mr. Gracia has been disruptive, aggressive, and impolite at most board meetings, making basic or professional decorum practically impossible. Finally, you end your report by demonstrating what appears to be your support and glorification of Mr. Gracia and your ratification of his untruthful, deliberately inflammatory misrepresentations by stating in bold, despite efforts to deter and silence him, Gracia remains undeterred. In this instance, your inflammatory, baseless reporting of Mr. Gracia's statements without corroboration of the facts or disclaimer certainly appears to have been intended to incite fear and panic in the residents of our community. Again, let's set the record straight. You didn't question the veracity of Mr. Gracia's claims before you published your report. Now, please consider the truth. Presented without hysteria, threat, or innuendo. Please post this response on your blog. Thank you, Nancy Wright, President, Mission Springs Water District. That concludes the letter.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go into public comments on this item. Dory, do you have anybody that would like to speak on this item?
There are many members of the public present, but nobody has indicated that to me. So if you would like to make public comment regarding this item, please unmute your mic and I will call on you for comment. Janet Wilson, your mic is unmuted. Do you care to make public comment?
I have a couple of questions. Where on your website is this very lengthy letter posted? I can't find it anywhere.
Same place you went to find the agenda.
It's not there. So if you could somehow, okay, if you want to walk through for the public where the letter is posted, that would be very, very helpful, I think.
It's
for all of
indicated
us.
as the packet. It's in the
Right?
packet.
It's not under the packet. So,
It is there. I just clicked on it and opened it and I'm viewing it as I speak to you.
okay, is it possible to put in this meeting in the question section or somewhere where it's easily accessible?
Absolutely. I will post
Okay.
that in the chat.
Okay, that would be great, because it's unfortunately tricky to find things on the website. And then I just wanted to ask a question about the very top of the meeting of the president. President Wright, are you saying that Director Gracia has potentially committed crimes here? And if so, what are the potential crimes? I just want to make sure I understand that. And have you reported them, or will you be reporting them to local police, the DA, or other authorities? Thank you.
No, it was just, no, I was not saying that. I was just making a statement that, like it's a crime to do something. Like, I don't know if it's a crime or not. I know that making false statements is a crime. Do not know if he did make false statements or not to an enforcement officer. I do not know that.
Okay, all right. I guess I'm confused then, because you said that what he was doing was a crime, but you're saying now you don't know if it is a crime?
Well, I wasn't making in the contents that it was a crime, that kind of crime. It's just a word that.
Just to clarify, if I may, it is illegal to make a false report to police or the district attorney's office. And while we have quotes in the Yukon report that Mr. Gracia said all those things, it would have to be investigated to determine whether or not he did in fact say those things. And it is possible that criminal action, a criminal action has taken place by making a false police report or report to the DA's office.
Okay, and I'm so sorry. Who was that who was just speaking now?
I'm Vice President Russ Martin.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to double check.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you both. I appreciate it. Also, I guess you said that this article was written by Steve Gracia. I'm wondering how you know that.
Did anybody actually say that?
It says it on the agenda.
I don't think I wrote that anywhere, because it's actually written more. So it sounds more like it was written by Cindy Yukon, but from information that Director Gracia gave her. That's what
That's the way I read it also, but since it said on the agenda, an article by Steve Gracia, I just wanted to double check if I was missing something or what was being referred to.
Okay, probably because his picture is there.
Okay, all right. Okay, anybody else want to add anything?
No, don't see anything.
Are you taking public comment? Are you calling us all by name? Or are we supposed to chime in?
Well, wait a minute. Dory is just unmute you and Dory will call people. Who are
Okay,
unmuted.
and that's great. And the last thing would just be, again, if you can tell me when that link is somewhere where we can just click on it and see it for the proposed letter. Thanks.
That is in the chat.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Wilson. Okay, Dory,
Thank you.
next person.
Thank you. If you would like to make public comment, please unmute your microphone. Mr. Betts, you're up.
Yeah, thank you. This is Russell Betts. I was just curious, have you gotten any word back from whoever it is that, what is it, the Water Resources Control Board regarding was it $9 million in potential fines that the water district is facing? Have you heard anything back on that or know when that will be resolved? Or when you'll hear something back, whether or not we've been fined for the spillage?
I think that would be the general manager.
We have
And-
not heard anything from the Regional Water Quality Control Board. We are working very closely with them. We communicate with them routinely. They come out and inspect our facilities routinely, but no, we have had no response on the notice of violation.
And I wasn't really clear on all the sequence of events that happened, but my understanding was, and correct me if I'm wrong, was a holding pond was constructed without an initial permit, and then that holding pond subsequently breached. And then apparently the water district didn't inform the regulatory authorities of the breach immediately. And is that basically the sequence of things that took place?
Danny, are you on? Did you want to respond to that? Yes. I mean, I think basically that's what happened.
Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you. I just was curious about that. You hear so much out there and you never know so it's nice to hear, just directly like that. So thank you for the quick and direct answer.
And also bear in mind, Mr. Betts, that the $9 million is the maximum, and it very rarely rises to the level of the maximum fine for violations. They would have to have very, very serious situations for them to find the maximum penalty.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's anticipating a $9 million fine, but it sure gets everybody's attention, doesn't it?
Sure.
Sure does. But Director Martin is correct. We're not expecting a $9 million fine.
Anybody else, Dory? Thank you, Mr. Betts.
Again, if you would like to make public comment, please unmute your mic.
The screenshot leads to a list of internal files. I don't know what it means. Clicking on the board ASPX link in the chat as a member of the public just goes to the announcement of the emergency meeting. So I don't know what's missing there on the technology. Just need a link to or a copy of the letter.
I'm not quite sure where the breakdown is, ma'am.
Okay, but can you somehow in the chat, rather than linking to your board agenda, put a link to or a copy of the lengthy letter that has a lot of details in it that was just read?
I can link you to the website where it's posted. I don't know if this link will help you. It's going to link you to our internal files.
Yeah, what's the name of the file maybe? I can look for that
So
file.
you're looking for 8/16/21 special meeting.
Right?
To the
And
left
that-
of it, you see agenda,
Uh-huh,
and then you see packet.
right?
Click on the 0.9 MB listed underneath packet.
0.9 MB. Okay.
And that will download it to your computer. Now click the download.
Well, I was writing down those 4 or 5 steps. Now I'll try and do them again. I still don't understand why you can't make this easily available for the public, but I'm gonna try again. Okay, so going to the packet, 0.9 MB. The packet on my end is once again calling up the agenda,
Keep scrolling down, ma'am. Keep scrolling down.
right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay, hallelujah.
Wow.
It
Yes.
was there all along.
Yeah.
It
Um,
was
just-
not there all
you just-
along. It was not
you
there
think.
before the meeting, okay? I had a nice phone call. They're trying to help me. It was not there all along. This was not
You just have
posted.
to scroll down on the agenda and it's in the packet behind the agenda. And
So
it
this
on the
was
first-
actually
excuse me,
there yesterday, this
it
letter?
was- It is at the link that is in the chat. And I just clicked on it and with one other click came right to it. You just have to scroll down past the agenda and the draft letter is at the bottom of it.
So was this on the agenda packet last night or yesterday when you posted this, or this morning? I'm just wondering when it was loaded.
No, ma'am. It was made available to the public at the same time it was made available to the board of directors. It was
Okay.
posted to the website at 2:45 this afternoon, which is the same time the board took their seats at the dais.
Okay, all right.
I see it
Okay,
on the packet
thank
right
you.
there.
I think it really helps if you can make things as accessible as possible, as much in advance as possible, especially if you're going to be voting on something. That's a general comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so no other comments that you are aware of, Dory, correct?
That is correct. Nobody else is unmuting their mic.
Okay,
I do have an employee with an unmuted mic. Do you care to make public comment? No, okay. I think that will complete it.
okay, so now we're going to have board discussion, so I'll call on Vice President Martin. Do you have any comments or concerns or any changes to this?
Yes,
Well, what the question, before we do that, what the question is going to be is as what the agenda says, I want the board to chime in and to approve me putting this in the Yukon report. I didn't want to make the call all by myself. So that's one of the reasons I called this meeting also, is to get the board's input on this so I could talk to him. I can't talk to him outside of a meeting about this. So anyway, okay, Vice President Martin.
yes. Make no mistake, diverse opinion is healthy for an organization, whether it be a private business or a public agency. In short, it's okay to disagree with one another. We do it all the time on the board. What is unacceptable is personal attacks, threats, or intentionally making outrageous lies to inflame public opinion for political gain or intimidate fellow board members to get the desired outcome. The outrageous lies that board member Grasha continues to tell via social media and other public forum is unacceptable, unprofessional, and will not be tolerated. That's my comment.
Thank you. Director Sewell?
I just agree completely with the response as written, and I'm glad that the lies from the article are hopefully going to be corrected on the Yukon Reports website.
Thank you. Director Grasha, is he present?
No, ma'am, he is not.
Okay, Director Duncan?
Yes, going off the top of my head, calendar year 2019, 2020, I was board president, sat in that seat right there. I had to address many lies from Steve Grasha put in public forum. We bribed the Desert Sun, we bribed the marijuana industry bribed us, we embezzled money, we sold water to beach communities.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, it seemed like every other month there was a big meltdown somewhere. I asked time and time again, or said, we need to do something. None of those events, although I think were over the top and terrible by themselves, none of them really reached the level of this.
Yeah, exactly.
So I am glad we're going public with this. I addressed the situation or my comments during the board meeting. Unless you happen to listen to the board meeting, you didn't hear them, you didn't know about it. But we need a public correction. This needs to be addressed publicly, so I fully support this letter. Thank you.
Thank you. And my comment is it's just about the same. This one was over the top. This one we just couldn't ignore. We have ignored several of his lies in articles and whatnot, blogs and social media. This one we just couldn't ignore. Our employees don't deserve this kind of abuse and false accusations. And I felt it is our responsibility to correct Director Grasha's false accusations against MSWD. It's our duty as a board to do that. So that's why we're doing this today. So, okay. Okay, so I would entertain a motion at this point in time. And
Yes, I'll make a motion to authorize the board president to issue a response to Director Grasha's July 20th article related to the spill at the Horton treatment plant, and give direction to the general manager to distribute the response as he seems fit.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and I would just like to say that I hope Cindy Yukin will print this full without any crossouts or redactions. So, okay, call for the vote, please.
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Duncan,
Yes.
Vice President Martin,
Yes.
President Wright.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody who was here today and gave us input on this very important meeting that we were uncovering the truth. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.